tacos go.
I'm Darnella Felix, and when I crave buds, I crave the chicken finger dinner, and I love the mac and cheese.
When that craving hits, it's time to come into Bud's to try our classic hand-breaded chicken, made fresh to order.
Yum, yum.
Take one.
Come on down to Bud's Chicken and Seafood for a Binger Ficky.
You said Binger Ficky.
Why would I say Binger Ficky?
I don't know, because it's Bud's Finger Quickie served with fries.
Sounds good.
Taste Buds. Taste the difference.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Guys, you're special today at Unlimited Auto Wash. Monday is Men's Day, and you save up to $5 off any wash at any of their 7 Palm Beach County locations. Check out the daily specials and find your location by visiting UnlimitedAutoWashClub.com.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Start your day with Unsportsmanlike, then let Russo and Rizzo argue like it's a family reunion. Catch them weekdays at 4 on ESPN 106.3.
Ouch! Stop it! Anna Joram Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Warning. Amendment 4 overturns Florida's parental consent law, so a minor could undergo an abortion without a parent's permission. Doctors can't even prescribe Tylenol without a parent's consent. But with Amendment 4, abortion would become the only medical procedure that can be performed on a minor without a parent's permission. Amendment 4 goes far beyond Roe v. Wade, eliminating reasonable safeguards and forcing taxpayers to fund abortions, even late-term abortions when science says the baby can feel pain. The Amendment 4 campaign is funded by George Soros and his radical allies, the same people trying to strip away parents' rights and push gender ideology in schools are trying to overturn parental consent on abortion. Amendment 4 isn't about freedom. It's about taking power from parents and giving it to radical leftists. Be warned. Amendment 4 is way too extreme and not what it seems. Sponsored by Truth About Amendment 4.
Time now for a PNC pause. PNC Bank is committed to helping the customers and the communities they serve move forward financially. See how they can make a difference for you at PNC.com.
Hey, it's your boy JC. ESPN just decided to take their action in the Jason Kelce phone smashing incident. We explain all on today's brand new Questionable Call with Josh Cohen, exclusively on YouTube. Subscribe now. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Hi, it's Luis Fonsi. What makes a performer truly legendary? How about being the #1 bestseller for 47 straight years? That's what Ford F-Series trucks have done every year since 1976. For generations, hard-working South Floridians have relied on Ford F-Series trucks to help grow businesses, communities, and families. A legacy of capability and technology. Ford trucks, perfect for South Florida. See your local Ford dealer today.
Does your business leave a lasting impression? Attractive, eye-catching signs help you stand out from the crowd and create a strong brand identity. Our team at Signorama West Palm are experts in helping your business get noticed and get effective signage in front of your potential customers. Our team can turn your blank windows or plain vehicles into money-making branding machines by drawing customers' attention to your business. So if you're looking to leave that lasting impression, call us 561-687-7993 or visit SignoramawPB.com.
Mega Thrills at Rapids Water Park. Mega Fun. And new Mega Mayhem, now open. The first dueling water coaster in Florida. Buy single-day tickets in advance online and save. Only at South Florida's Mega Thrill capital, Rapids Water Park.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Collins!
A beautiful new week at ESPN West Palm. Another coach yet to fall in the domino of firings. Dennis Allen out as Saints head coach. Can, goodbye, see ya. Good riddance. Saints lost yesterday to the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young, so that was the last straw for them. 7 straight losses. Packed slate of football. A lot to talk about, a lot to do. College football playoff rankings. The elections tomorrow. What a packed week we got to hold. Got you now from 4 to 6 p.m. Hi, everybody. Colin Russo here. Joined alongside me, Mike Rizzo with Christian Cat behind the glass. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3, live from the City Play Studios right here in downtown West Palm Beach. New month. First Monday of November, the 4th. Whole lot happened yesterday. Most notably, what's going on with the Saints and the Cowboys. We want to talk about teams that have been major disappointments, talking about, or viewed coming into the season, whether it be the Browns, whether it be the Cowboys, whether it be the Saints, Jacksonville, if you want to include it, Dolphins now at 2-6, the same boat. I don't know if there's a team that has had more of a disappointing go-round than the Cowboys, but there's certainly a conversation with a couple of them.
I agree. If you're the Cowboys, especially with now the Dak Prescott injury, you really got to question everything going on, right? You got to question everything that's going to happen moving forward on the season. Is Cooper Rush going to be able to come in and salvage some games while Dak Prescott is out? Colin, you're already 3-5. I don't want to say there's not a lot of margin for error. There really isn't.
And you got Eagles, Texans, Commanders coming up.
Right. So brutal schedule coming up. Cowboys sitting at 3-5, Colin. And it's funny because I'm the one who told you there is always Super Bowl aspirations with that roster. Well, why with that roster are they 3-5 at this point on the year? Is it Mike McCarthy? Colin, you saw him slam the tablet. You saw him slam the tablet after Darnell Mooney is wide open. It seems like that honeymoon, if you could even call that, between him and Jerry Jones might be coming to an end. But the Cowboys are probably number one because they're the Cowboys, and that's the expectation. But I want to focus on the New Orleans Saints a little bit. Colin, it's hard to lose 7 games in a row. It really is. It's hard to lose 7 games in a row when you have professionals on your football team. I mean, Alvin Kamara, a solid player. I thought the Saints defense was good enough to maybe inch out a couple of these games, but you can't lose to Carolina. And now the talks of Carolina are, Bryce Young starting to turn it around. And I just think the Saints are such a mess that it's making that whole conversation come alive. I don't know how much we could look into Bryce Young having success. I just think it's the Saints being the dumpster fire that they are. And I kind of felt bad, even with Carr coming back, that things didn't really work out for them, right?
They got so much bad publicity, especially with Mike Thomas going to media, going after Carr. Now you get the coach out. Derek Carr is trying to field the media questions in regard to Mike Thomas and where the direction of the team's going to be. New Orleans is firmly in place of getting a top 5 draft pick. Yeah. They're in cap hell at the moment in terms of guaranteed money. In talks to sellers, I don't think there's going to be 2 teams that are more sellers based on what we're seeing in terms of a fire sale than the Saints and the Cowboys. Okay. Those are your 2 teams that I think at this point are going to ship out what they possibly can.
Who do you get rid of if you're on the Cowboys?
I would field calls for Lawrence, DeMarcus Lawrence, that is. I would field calls, a couple of those defensive players. I would get Diggs
Bland.
He's hurt. I would get Diggs out of there. Parsons at this point? Do you ship out Parsons and get 2 firsts?
He's owed a contract, too.
Yeah.
You already paid Dak Prescott.
The person who's going to get him is going to have rights to extend him. Mm-hmm. So do you do that? What good does he do by keeping him around?
Knowing Jerry Jones, they're going to try to win every game with Cooper.
And, it's the elephant in the room with how Jerry Jones, we talked about it a bit yesterday on Sunday Huddle, but Jerry Jones is an 82-year-old general manager. Without saying it, how much is he really looking towards the future?
Right.
82 years old, you're the owner of the team, you've owned the team for 40 years. You want to win now. I understand that for obvious reasons. But the fact that you're also the general manager, it hinders your ability to operate in the future. It hinders your ability to utilize both what's working now and what could work in the future because in a lot of ways, Jerry Jones is a little nearsighted. He's not thinking about what 3 years is going to look like because where's Jerry going to be in 3 years? It's a little morbid. But he's old.
And my question to you is, who takes that operation over? The son?
I don't know.
The son?
Yeah, it's not like he's not going anywhere anytime soon. But the fact is, he's an 82-year-old general manager. Is entirely too old to be a general manager. You're entirely too old. If you want to see some winning, let somebody, an up-and-comer, take the reins, and you just be an owner. You run the business. You're the CEO of the business. Do what you got to do. Hell, have a operations role if you want. And let somebody else who is going to be more nearsighted take the reins. But now they should fire sale, but I don't know if that is really what Jones wants to do.
And offensively, outside of CeeDee Lamb, like, who are you going to sell there? No one. I don't want to say no one wants Dak Prescott. I'm sure they'd be able to.
I think CeeDee and Prescott are probably the planted
That's
figures.
what I mean. You get what I'm saying here. You're not trading Prescott. You're not trading Lamb. All right, then tell me who the hell you're trading on the offensive end.
Yeah.
So that's why I think they're just going to stick with what they got and try to win as many games as possible. And the track record of Jerry Jones is win now. And the defense has been an absolute nightmare this year.
But they have
There's
talent,
no arguing
which
that.
is why you can ship him.
They do. And the question I want to ask you, too, we're kind of harping on Jerry here. How much of the blame is on the coaching staff? There's got to be. We got to divvy some blame on Mike McCarthy.
Absolutely.
There's got to be blame on McCarthy and accountability from there, because this was a defense that was good enough last year. I mean, they were rushing the quarterback at an incredible rate.
Yeah, they were a great defense last year, turning the ball over a lot, and then Dan Quinn gets shipped out, takes the head coaching job at the Commanders, and then all of a sudden they fall off a cliff. Yeah. I understand that injuries have a lot to do with that, with Bland not being available and Parsons not being available and Lawrence not being available.
But it makes you wonder if Bland might. I know he's injured, but it makes you wonder if Bland might be traded. It makes you wonder if some of these other guys might be on.
Go stockpile. Do it.
What would this? So second round pick?
I can't.
That's what I mean.
For
I don't
somebody
want
like Bland. For Parsons, you'd get 2 or 3 first rounders.
Well, yeah, he's that premium edge rushing position.
Diggs, you'd get a second rounder, a third rounder, probably a third.
You got to realize, too, Diggs is a ball hawk. He's not gonna, he's gonna take a chance and try to get an interception rather than stick on a guy like glue. So, is the team going to be willing to go for a corner like that at this point of the year when it's sweaty palm times? But it fascinates me, the conversation, because a team we haven't brought up either are the Jets. The Jets, I know they won the Super Bowl, according to some people, last Thursday, winning that game on Thursday Night Football. But they're an awful football team as well right now.
Yeah, terrible. And but they're not going to sell because they've already bought.
Yeah,
so they've established themselves as buyers.
But I think the Cowboys are more of the same realm. I know they didn't necessarily buy. They bought from within with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott.
And then 8 games in, now it's a disaster. But all of a sudden, you want to die on that horse? That's the Cowboy way.
It is.
But to that point, you have an opportunity here where you have talent. Your team is not going anywhere. You're not winning. You're not going to touch the playoffs. And does Jerry, can he look farsighted 2-3 years into the future and get a grasp at, all right, well, we're not going to accomplish anything this year, but what about 2 years from now? Still going to have the quarterback under contract, still going to have the receiver under contract. Let's try to stockpile and get some talent. If he could think like that, then that would be to the benefit of the Cowboys organization. But there's also some people that say until Jerry moves out of his position as general manager, and whenever he'll do that, Lord knows when he'll ship out as the general manager. And whether he stays as the owner is another thing. But when he gets out of that role, the Cowboys might not win anything. So I think that might be the conclusion I'm coming to.
So you're saying stockpile, getting rid of Parsons and some of the DBs.
Not saying you need to get rid of Parsons, but he's an asset. He's not doing you any good right now, and he's going to do a whole other teams a whole lot of good, and you're going to be able to, instead of paying him a plethora of money and not doing anything with it, you could actually get something and make use of it.
Would teams give up where I'm coming from here, too, I hate when my team trades first-round picks. Drives me crazy. Someone going to give up 2 first-rounders for Micah Parsons?
Yeah.
I call it a rental, too. Would you as well?
Well,
with that contract?
if they extend him immediately, that's another problem. But yeah, any contender, if he's healthy, any contender would take him.
To your
second.
point, I know this is kind of a bad example because the Bears were kind of awful when they made the trade last year. But you saw Montez Sweat last year.
Hey, what was he, a second-round pick?
Yeah, first-round pick.
That was a first-round pick they gave up for him?
Sorry, I thought you meant him himself. It was a second rounder.
Yes,
it was a second
rounder they gave up.
I thought you meant
Sweat
himself, but they did extend him. The point I was trying to get to, the Bears got him and then they extended him.
Well, how they would handle he wouldn't be a rental because how they'd handle the Parsons trade is, number one, they would make sure that Parsons' agent would agree to a contract extension before that trade went through. That's just how that would go. That's how the Cowboys get the most out of it. That's how the other team gets the most out of it.
I guess
that's how Parsons gets the most out of it.
Call for what it is. I don't see teams wanting to give up 2 first-rounders. It's a tough business, Colin.
I mean, tough business when they're going to be the 28th overall pick. It's not as important as the 3rd overall pick. I think that's my perspective on it. If it's a contender that's going to have a late 20s pick, this is worth it. If you're in a Super Bowl window,
let me throw a team out there then. Like, obviously, you're not going to trade intra-division. There's a big stink about the Lions. Let me ask you this: did it look like the Lions needed a pass rusher against the Packers this past weekend?
Everybody says they're going to get Zadarius Smith either today or tomorrow, so that's another problem.
Yeah, from the Browns.
But so I don't know if they'll need him, and I don't know who will go get Parsons. It's maybe somebody who's entering a Super Bowl window who has the money to spend on a pass rusher. That might be part of the reason why they would do something like that, and who that is, I don't necessarily have an answer for. But at least shop him. You don't think people would call? He's a premier player at the position. He's young, and he's ready for a contract extension. So I think that this would be a no-brainer in a lot of ways if somebody who has the money can go make a move for him. And
I still think Jerry's too stubborn.
Too stubborn. And that's part of the reason why I think until Jerry moves out of that general manager role, they will not win anything. Because he does not operate like a traditional general manager because he's old. You are 82 years old, Jerry. You do not think the 3-4 years in the future. He's old. Where is Jerry going to be in 3-4 years? How is he still going to be able to do all this football stuff? Mm-hmm. So that's the way I look at it. They should fire sale. Get rid of Diggs. Get rid of whoever you can. And stockpile as much as you possibly can. That's the fastest way to turn it all around. It's not going to be what they're doing now.
Watch them go out and get somebody, Colin.
That would be very on brand for the Cowboys.
Watch them go out and get a running back or something.
That would be very on brand.
Right? Well,
very on brand.
Watch them go out and get a running back or like a receiver.
Now, the Saints, on the other hand, have a lot of dead cap and need to get rid of a lot of money on the books. So this is an easy one. I think I know Marshawn Lattimore's been floated to the Kansas City Chiefs. That would annoy everybody if they did that, but it's a great move. Go get him. He's available. He's under contract. He's expensive. I don't know why the Saints wouldn't sell. You have a lot of talent on that team. Go sell. Anybody who's not in a rookie contract.
Especially with Olave going down to, like, you really have nothing offensively outside of Alvin Kamara.
Coach is just fired.
Coach is gone.
Loomis has been there for 20-something years, and he knows how much money. He's put them in a really tough position. Mickey Loomis, their general manager, that is. He's put them in a really tough spot financially. Get rid of everybody.
Right.
Get rid of, and you're not going to be able to get rid of Carr, and Carr's not your answer. But you're going to be in a position there where in a year from now, you're probably going to have a rookie quarterback in the mix, and you're not going to be forced to start him because you got Carr sitting there as well. So that should be the 2-year future for what the Saints are doing is figure out your head coach, get a quarterback, stockpile as much as you can, get money off the books, and then you don't have to be in a position to start this rookie quarterback immediately because you have a viable enough starter in Derek Carr. That's how the Saints should handle their next 10 months. But it remains to be seen whether they do it. And in terms of fire sailors, there should be no two teams more than the Cowboys and the Saints due to the injuries and due to where they are in record-wise that should sell because they have talent.
I think there are two other teams too, Kyle. And they're very dear to the show because they have a lot to do with you and me. I think the Jags and the Browns partner are right up there. The Jags have a lot of talent offensively. I could even argue defensively as well.
A lot of hurt talent.
And then the Browns on that defensive side, I mean, I know old khaki pants and Justin Herbert made us look like Swiss cheese yesterday. But you got some stuff in the secondary with Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome.
So you'd want to get rid of those guys?
I don't want to get rid of them, but the Browns are very analytical, Colin, and if they truly think that this quote-unquote championship window is gone.
If it's gone, then they should get rid of Garrett.
If it's gone, they should get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
Call it for what it is.
They got calls about Garrett.
They did. And if they think the championship window is gone because the quarterback position isn't figured out, then you got to restart everything. The problem is, bud, you're back to 1-30. You're back to being if you trade those guys, you're back to being the worst team in football again. If you trade Denzel Ward, if you trade Myles Garrett, if you trade Wyatt Teller, offensive lineman, a great interior offensive lineman who could play any position in the interior, You're going to be the worst team in football again. And what's that telling your fan base again? Oh, strap in another 3 years of absolute misery.
Now, what do you want?
I think you might have to do it, Kyle. I think you might have to do it.
There's also you don't have to sell. You don't have to blow it all up, but you got to sell a handful
Colin,
of pieces.
Let's be honest here. If you sell that, you're blowing it up. If you
but
trade
not everybody, but I understand.
But if you trade Ward and Garrett, that's blowing it up to me. Remember our conversation: head coach, quarterback, pass rusher, lockdown corner, left tackle. Like the Browns have had that for the last couple of years, and it's netted them 2 playoff runs in 5 years. Something that the fans have no idea about. And even with Jacksonville, too. You know, I
don't know who Jacksonville's going to give up.
Walker, the number 1 pick?
Not a chance. Not a chance. He's 2 years under a rookie contract.
Why would... Okay, makes sense. Garrett more... I was gonna rebuttal. Garrett, why would you say Browns give it to Garrett? Is it because of the contract? Get out of that
It's
money.
a financial decision. So that's my perspective. They're not going to get rid of somebody just for the sake of getting rid of them because it's all about a contractual thing.
So you're thinking too many young players on Jacksonville still.
Yes. The money they have locked down is either just starting in Hines Allen, the defensive end, or a couple corners. They just signed these guys. So it's not like you're trying to get out of contracts because they just got signed.
And I'm not, listen, I think Trevor Lawrence could still have a good career. But the problem with Jacksonville is similar to the Browns and some of these other teams that sign these quarterbacks that aren't panning out. You know, man, I told you when I walked in here, I felt bad for Trevor Lawrence against the Eagles this past Sunday.
Here's the way I look at it. There's 2 different types of in trouble. And we'll get to the phone lines before I give this point. But 888-760-3776. That's 888-760-3776, the number to get into the program. We go to Palm Beach Gardens. Josh in Palm Beach Gardens. You're on Russo and Rizzo. Josh, what's on your mind?
What's up, guys? How are you guys doing?
Good, partner.
Good.
So I think Micah Parsons, I think the perfect trade destination for him would be Detroit. You look at Detroit, they just lost Aiden Hutchinson. He's out for the year. And if you look at the rest of the NFC and you look around, San Francisco's 4-4. They're not looking too hot. Who else is the Lions' competition? I think this is the time now for the Lions to go all in and get that Aiden Hutchinson replacement.
To Joshua's point, Colin, there were Max Crosby rumors floated out there as well. Crosby, a Michigan native. I'll rebuttal with this, Josh. The Lions draft well, right? So why would they give up first-round picks when they could probably hit on a couple of these players in the offseason?
Yeah, but then you're looking at 2 years ahead of time. Josh?
That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good point, but I think this is the time now. You look at the rest of the NFC. This is the perfect year. The San Francisco 49ers are not healthy. Who's your best competition? A rookie quarterback?
Yeah, I agree with you. Good call, Josh. To Josh's point, I'm on board with it. If they're going to make a move, what good does a 29th, 30th overall pick do for you in terms of hitting that? They've hit on their first-round picks. They have a ton of guys on rookie deals. They're going to have to pay some of them eventually. You're going to have Hutchinson back in the mix. Why don't you build yourself a 2-3 year window instead of riding high on this one? And getting somebody like another elite pass rusher would solve that. I'm not saying that there's a gap there, but make yourself more dominant. Why wouldn't you? You have the assets. I don't know if they'll accept it, but if you have assets to trade, I'm completely on board. I think you're putting a lot of stock into late first-round picks that won't do anybody much good.
They've just been able to hit on them.
Right, but they've been hitting on the teens and Jahmyr Gibbs and Arnold in the
Laporta.
20s. And Laporta was a mid-first-round, second-round pick, I think. And then they got Jack Campbell, who was like the 12th overall. So it's a little different then, but Lions are going to be sitting around 30, 31 overall. I don't think that's that big of a deal. And they are a juggernaut. They have everything they need.
I mean, Arnold has been great. Joseph has been great. I could argue remember last year, their problem was secondary. They bolstered up the secondary in the offseason through the draft and free agency. It has helped them tremendously. I could argue they have one of the best secondaries in the NFL.
Yeah.
Not to mention.
And it was a problem last year.
Pretty good linebackers are the Anzalone and Campbell as well. It's similar.
They're a juggernaut.
I agree. They're 7-1. Kyle, similar to what I said about Dallas, on brand for them to probably buy and not sell. I understand. Strike while the iron's hot. You're 7-1. Just doesn't seem like something they would do to give up the farm for an edge rusher right now. It's just, for some reason, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think it's solely because of Jerry Jones. And I tend to agree, but it's not because of that. I don't think that's going to happen. It's what they should do.
And you disagree with me on the Lions part.
What?
That you think the Lions are going to go out and get like Crosby or
they're probably not going to get a top of the line guy. Maybe because they think they don't need it. But if they're available, I would make the move.
Like, here's the thing,
he does more for you than Zadarius Smith.
Like, Josh Pascal is hurt now too.
Yeah.
You know, he's questionable. He's banged up. That's just yet another edge rusher.
Go get a top tier guy. Crosby, go get him. I know it's going to cost a lot, but it's worth it, in my opinion. It's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063. That's Mike Rizzo, Colin Rizzo, Christian Cat, of course, behind the glass. We'll overreact a little. I want to get to some Overreaction Monday presented by Hard Rock Bets. Stick around. It's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 1063.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen. The stakes are high, the lights are bright, and ESPN 1063 has the game. NFL Week 9 is on. Monday Night Football is in Arrowhead. The Bucs and the Chiefs finish Week 9. Pre-game starts at 7:30. So stay tuned to ESPN 1063 and let's witness history together.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
ABC Wednesdays.
Y'all complain all day. We want books. We want paper towels in the classroom. Bet you want raises too.
I'm still waiting on the paper towels.
Abbott Elementary returns with the new season.
We asked the district for more after-school programs. They gave us $50 for class pets instead.
Critics cheer. Abbott Elementary continues to be one of the funniest and most beloved shows on TV.
What y'all doing out there?
Taking bribes.
Proud of y'all.
Abbott Elementary, Wednesdays, 9:30, 8:30 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Palm Beach County's premier college football event is back. Don't miss the 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, Wednesday, December 18th from FAU Stadium and broadcast live on ESPN. Last year's game saw in-state Rising Power USF beat Syracuse out of the ACC. What will this year's game have in store? Big names, big teams, big action. The 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, December 18th at FAU Stadium on ESPN. Don't miss out. Find out more at BocaRatonBowl.com.
I'm Wendy Sartori-Link, your Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections. Tuesday, November 5th is Election Day and the polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Find where you vote at votepalmbeach.gov. Remember to bring your photo and signature ID. If you still have a mail ballot, you can either vote in person at your polling location, drop it off at one of our drop-off locations during designated hours, or bring it to our main office by 7 p.m. on Election Day. It's an honor to serve and ensure your vote counts. See you at the polls. Sponsored by the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections Office.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
ESPN 1063 is presented by Rubenstein Law. 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Car accident, truck accident, Uber or Lyft accident, or a slip and fall. Call Rubenstein Law. Call 1-800-FL-LEGAL and visit one of our offices throughout Florida.
Hey, Shot, I know you be hearing this and that from here and there, but please trust and believe, little mama. I see you gon' ride for me, so I'ma die for you.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
Week 9 of the NFL closes out tonight with Tampa Bay taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Packed slate of Sunday football yesterday. A lot of upsets on ranked teams in the college football landscape on Saturday in Week 10 of that season. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, of course, behind the glasses. Always a whole lot of conclusions to be drawn from what I saw over the weekend. And some are a little more drastic than others. But it's election season. Well, this is the time of the year to be way on one side or way on the other. Let's get into some Overreaction Monday presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Sound the alarm. Let's jump to conclusions. There's no room for reason. It's Overreaction Monday.
Oh, how could I be so stupid?
Presented by Hard Rock Bet.
It's Overreaction Monday presented by Hard Rock Bet, where Mike and I give our biggest takeaways from the weekend, and we overreact as best as we can, like we always do, essentially. But, C-Cat, if you have one in mind, too, just let me know. Mike, do you have an overreaction in mind?
Yeah, I got a big one. The Big 12 needs to, they need to get rid of the auto bid from the Big 12. That conference is such a joke. I watched 2 Big 12 games after the Ohio State game. Iowa State and then Kansas State. And what a disgrace. Kansas State and Iowa State were both better than the teams they played. With all due respect to Texas Tech and with all due respect to Houston, all right? No one wants to win that joke of a conference. I understand BYU's undefeated. And
there's your team.
And it looks like, but they're come on, BYU?
Yes.
BYU.
They got 2 ranked wins. They're undefeated. They beat SMU, who's underrated.
Come on.
SMU's the 13th ranked team in the country. They beat them.
They need to get rid of that auto bid out of the Big 12. That conference is a joke. That's number 1 for me. That Kansas State was a disgrace losing in the rain to Houston. And Iowa State, what a joke they were. I mean, what a waste of time that game was watching that one. Texas Tech drove, 80 yards to end that game?
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
They drove 80 yards to end the game. How about you get a stop?
Iowa State stinks.
At home.
Iowa State stinks.
You're at home.
Iowa State stinks.
And
I agree with that.
And Colin, their best game going into that game was Iowa. So let's pump the brakes here on Iowa State and some of these other teams like Kansas State. And one more out of me. Is Mike Gundy on the hot seat? Because he should be. How the hell is that team not good this year with Ollie Gordon and their quarterback that seems like he's on their 8th year? That's mine, Colin. One of them.
They love him down there, so that's one thing. But I understand the Big 12 point. They want to encourage teams to be in a conference, which is why they give them the auto bid.
No,
I'm in on. In comparison to what? Just let them be at large. You want to disband the conference?
No, not disband the conference. Just they're a group of 6.
Then what are you gonna do with
group of 7?
What are you gonna? Then they don't count it for basketball. What about basketball? It's the best. It's the best. How is it different? It's the same rules.
I'm talking college football playoff.
I understand, but
for the auto bid.
How are the TV contracts going to be suffice with that for the basketball side of things? They pay a lot of money for those basketball games because they know it's the best conference in college basketball. In order for them to be satisfied, they need a team in representation in the college football playoff. It's part of the contract. They want a team in there, so you're just going to ban all those teams just because they're not good this year?
It's not your ban them. They just don't have the auto bid.
Well, if you're auto bidding, you're insinuating that no team should get a bid.
That's where I'm at this point, Colin. To hell with the TV contracts.
Logistically,
I
no sense.
I love that you're bringing me back to earth on Overreaction Monday. That's my damn overreaction. Screw the TV contracts. Big 12's awful. I'm sick of watching it.
I alluded to it, and I'm not sure yet on 2 of them. One of them has something to do with the Big 12.
No. If it's an overreaction, react.
Colorado's going to make the playoff.
There we go.
Why do I think that? Because that Iowa State loss that Mike just alluded to just paved a way for Colorado to steal a bid here. Colorado doesn't play. They haven't had a tough schedule to begin with, but
and they got waxed by Nebraska.
They lost to Kansas State, so that was not a good game right there. But Colorado is in a situation here. They only have 1 loss in conference. The rest of the season is as follows. They're coming off the bye this week. They're at Texas Tech, which is not going to be an easy game. It's their toughest game the rest of the way. Then they got Utah at home, who stinks, at Kansas, who stinks, and Oklahoma State at home, who stinks. Now Colorado smells a little blood in the water. Colorado now needs Kansas State to beat Iowa State the last game of the year. Because if Kansas State beats Iowa State, then Iowa State's going to have 2 losses in conference. Colorado will get the auto bid into the Big 12 championship game. They're going to have a chance to get an auto bid if they beat, let's assume, BYU in that Big 12 championship game, and I think they would. BYU plays half of the time.
You're buying BYU.
I like BYU, but I think Colorado could beat them because Colorado's got the quarterback. Colorado is better than advertised, I think. Watch them do it. They smell it now. You don't think Colorado knows about this now? They know their path has opened up a little bit. They just need a little help from Kansas State. Watch Colorado make the playoff.
I got one for you.
Go ahead.
Say it full-throated. Saquon Barkley is a top 5 running back talent that this league has ever seen. Saquon Barkley, if drafted to anyone who was not garbage, and the Giants have been garbage his entire tenure there, if he was drafted to a competent team, we were talking about Saquon Barkley is a Hall of Famer already.
Colin, what a fun player. Dating back to Penn State.
Agree. Fun player. Is he better than Walter Payton, yes or no?
Yes.
No.
No. Is he better than LaDainian Tomlinson, yes or no?
Absolutely not.
No.
You haven't seen what I've seen.
Dude, LT.
Is he better than Barry Sanders?
No.
Barry Sanders couldn't wash Saquon Barkley's shoes.
Colin.
No.
No.
Or shine them.
Is he better than Adrian Peterson?
No.
Toss up.
No.
And
you want to go Marshall Faulk?
I want to go Marshall Faulk. I want to go any name you spit at me because Saquon
Jim
Barkley.
Brown.
God, no.
Yeah, listen to the guys that Saquon Barkley is playing against are vastly superior to a lot of the names that you've named.
I'll listen top 5 back in the last 12 years.
This century. Definitely top 5. I'm okay with top 5. Is he better than Derrick Henry? No.
Yes.
No.
Last 2 millenniums, top running back, Saquon Barkley.
I don't think not.
He's not even the best player.
Once we
he's
go
not
to
even the best running back in the league at the moment.
That's to CCAT's point, and to what I was trying to make before I got hit with TV contracts over here. It is overreaction Monday.
Yes.
So, Colin, I got one that you're going to laugh at.
What's that?
The ACC is so phony. How about Clemson losing to Louisville? They didn't just lose.
At home.
They got bamboozled. And don't give me that, Colin. Don't give me that garbage touchdown at the end of the game and the fans throwing the damn water bottles on the field. By the way, let's stop that. Can we stop that? We did that too. The Buckeyes did that too. Again, when Nebraska. Let's stop throwing the water bottles on the field.
I agree with that.
Back to the ACC. Is Miami good? Are we sure Miami's good?
Yeah.
You sure?
Great? No. Good? Yes.
Kyle, 34 points to Virginia Tech, 38 points given up to California, 45 to Louisville. Listen, maybe Louisville.
Oh, and that's one side of the field. Start naming how much they scored.
You're right, but I wonder if they can do it against the upper echelon SEC teams. And I say upper echelon Big Ten teams. That's all there is. Let's be honest. Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State's the only thing that the league has right now.
I think Miami
Indiana.
I think Miami would beat Penn State.
Really?
Yes.
I think defensively, Penn State worlds better. Miami has not faced a defense like Penn State. Agreed?
Miami would be in a situation where they got to score.
I think
they got to score 27 points, 24 points.
I personally think Aller could score against that defense.
Maybe.
I think Ohio
He stinks.
Now we'll get to Ohio State. You can make fun of me for the Buckeyes later on in the show, but I think we found out Ohio State's defense very, very good, very legit. And that Evan Stewart and Oregon is just probably going to do that to everyone that they line up against. CCAT, I'm interested to get your opinion. Don't you think Aller and Singleton, don't you think the Singleton kid, they'd be able to score against Miami's defense, no?
Yeah, I think they'd be able to score. Would they be able to execute in late-game situations? Well, stoppable force meets movable object with Christopher Franklin when we get to the fourth quarter.
So
I would take the runner. Yeah, I'd take the runner over the bruiser.
You guys would go with Cam Ward would probably be the deciding factor of that game. How about this what if possibility I've created? Colin, overreaction. ACC a phony conference as well this year. No one wants to play in the ACC, by the way. Clemson wanted to get out. Florida State wanted to get out. They're top of I know Florida State stinks this year, but they're top of the brass is trying to find ways out, and you got one good team this year. How about Pitt? How about Pitt getting absolutely dismantled by SMU?
That brings me to my overreaction. Watch SMU make the playoff. Watch it happen. Watch it. And whether they steal that bid against the ACC, they might even get a bid with 2 losses. That's how confident I am in it. I like SMU. And if they play Miami really, really tough, they might get thrown a bone there. 8-1, 13th ranked. They got nobody the rest of the schedule. I understand that, so they're not going to have the strength of schedule argument. But they could compete with Miami. You know why? Because they don't really beat themselves. They don't give Miami the 2 possessions that Miami needs to really pull ahead. That's what happened against Duke. That's what happened against Louisville. Go down the list. That's what Miami needs 1 or 2 breaks on defense that gets them back into the game. SMU won't give them that.
Colin, I want you to bring up something we talked about before the show because I think it's a bit of an overreaction. Indiana, you said they'd make the playoff. I think that's an overreaction.
Why?
They haven't played anybody yet.
Okay.
And
well,
I think, hang on, hear me out before you roast me at the stake. I respect 45 no matter, like, they're consistently putting up 40 points. I understand that, and I respect that. Similar to our Miami conversation, I don't know if they'd be able to play defense against an upper echelon team. That schedule's a joke.
Well,
an absolute travesty. It's shame on the Big Ten. I'm a Big Ten guy. That schedule's a joke. Those teams are a joke.
You know what that problem is?
What's that problem?
That is a reflection of the expanded conferences. The schedules are too uneven. But here's the problem. All right, paint me a picture where Indiana does not make the playoff. They have Michigan, Purdue, and Ohio State. They lose to Ohio State. They're not going to play in the Big Ten championship game. They still get a bid. They beat Ohio State. They play Oregon. Win or lose, they're still getting in. That's the take.
I guess I have newfound confidence in the Buckeyes that they're going to be able to win that game by at least 10 points convincingly.
They were going to lose by 10 points on Friday to Penn State.
I said I'd let you have me. I said I'd let you have me.
But now they're going to beat Indiana.
I said I'd let you guys
for 4 minutes all year long. What did I tell you on Friday? He's going to come in with a big smile on his face, acting like he just saw the greatest team of all time. So
No. We're not there yet. But I do think we proved to be the second best team in the Big Ten. And I'm happy Indiana's at home.
Indiana. No, it's at Ohio State, that game. But
yeah, that's why I said I'm happy the Indiana game is at home.
I see.
Sorry.
Indiana's going to be coming off a bye coming into that game. That is their Super Bowl. That is the one game that they have circled on the schedule. Indiana's going to be ready for that game, even if they lose close, unless they get blown out by 35 points, which won't happen. If they get blown out, that's the only situation I could see them not getting a bid. They're going to be a one-loss team.
Let's add this in there. Penn State stays undefeated, okay? Alabama stays at 2 losses. Tennessee stays at... I think they'd give the nod to an SEC, to a 2-loss SEC team over Indiana because of schedule. You disagree?
No.
Who's Alabama beating? That's what scares me.
Well, LSU. They'd have to beat LSU this weekend. Okay.
And Georgia?
Yeah, I forgot about that game.
And also on the flip side, sorry.
I thought you were joking.
I forgot about
partner,
it.
I thought you were asking me like this weekend, alluding to they had to beat LSU. On the flip side of that comment,
just the best win in college football this year.
God. On the flip side of that, hang on. That's better than the Ohio State win for Oregon?
What?
Is that better? That win
Alabama over Georgia is better than Ohio State against Penn State?
No. Oregon beating Ohio State. Some people say that Ohio State win's the best win of the season.
Georgia, I know they're a quarterback away. That's the most impressive one.
Okay. But I still think they would give the nod to an SEC team over Indiana and put in Ohio State, Oregon.
But Indiana's not going to be that odd man out, I don't think. I think that would be Penn State is that odd man out because I think Indiana's a story too, and I think they like that.
And this is why
they want money, and Penn State football drives viewers to televisions. They want money, not stories.
This is why I had this take with Miami, because I'm doing the same thing with Indiana. Folks, when you don't play anybody, and I understand people would say, Ohio State's best win is Penn State. They're a top 12 team, whatever, okay? When the Buckeyes played Oregon, they proved something, that they could hang in a game. Did they lose another big game, and was it terrible? Yes.
So why don't you explain to me why Penn State would get this bid over over Indiana?
Because they lost. Now
they lost what? Close to Ohio State?
Correct.
Well, they haven't played Ohio State yet, so you can't say that about
Indiana.
But
I told you in my hypothetical I built up in my mind, Ohio State wins by 10 at home. I don't see how it's close.
That's a hypothetical that doesn't make any
sense.
sense.
You think it's going to be close?
Here's what happens. Here's the truth of the matter. Indiana's won every single game by 14-plus points. They have scored 42, 52, 42, 41, 56, 31, 47. Penn State does not have wins like that. And just off of Penn State, you want to talk about brand? Maybe. But it's not like Penn State is blowing the doors off every team. That's why Indiana would get the nod.
I wish Indiana were to, and I understand USC has been shambolic. I understand Washington it hasn't been the best team, some of these teams that came over. I wish they played a team like USC, who's had a down year, Colin, with talent. Because I would love to see them. If they put up 40 against 4 stars and 5 stars like that, sure.
But I'm talking about how the committee's going to think. They're going to see them throttle the entire Big Ten, and of course that Ohio State game will mean something. But it's on the road versus Penn State being at home.
Then let me ask you the last part on this. I'm sorry this is taking so long. Who wins, Indiana or Penn State? Head-to-head. Neutral site.
Indiana's a better team than Penn State.
Neutral
1,000%. Neutral site. Yeah, 1,000% Indiana.
We'll put it at a neutral site.
I think Indiana wins in all 3 locations.
CCAT, neutral.
Indiana beats them at Penn State. They win at home, and they would win on neutral.
CCAT, neutral site.
Penn State minus
Indiana.
4.5. That would be the line.
I'm with you.
That's Penn State minus 4.5 over Indiana. I don't underestimate.
Tell me what Penn State has showed you. They beat Wisconsin on the road. Wisconsin just lost 42-10 to Iowa.
They've shown me a team that has a much matured quarterback from last year.
They showed you a team that is high on the AP poll at the beginning of the year, which is why there's a bit of a bias towards them. That's what that's showing. An Indiana team that's unranked in the AP poll is unwilling to admit that they were completely wrong on. They should be higher than what they are right now. Indiana's at 8. They should be higher than that.
I can't. Is it okay to not?
That's the AP bias.
My God, AP, by the way, has Indiana at 8. They have cracked the top 10. The Hoosiers. Hoosiers.
So
have cracked the top 10.
They play in the same conference. Of course, that Ohio State game will mean everything. But in terms of playing the rest of the conference, they've destroyed everybody. And they've destroyed everybody. That should be your takeaway, is that they killed everybody. And Penn State hasn't.
Maryland, Northwestern, Nebraska. I know they took Ohio State to the buzzer. Washington, Michigan State.
Powerhouses,
UCLA.
huh?
God, man. I can't make an assessment until they play the Buckeyes.
So
Is that
what?
fair?
West Virginia, Bowling Green, Kent State, Illinois, who's terrible. UCLA, USC, who's terrible.
Unfair
Wisconsin,
qualifiers.
who's terrible. Go down the list. They have Washington coming up. They play in the same conference. They're playing the same teams.
I'd like to see. I know you're going to post. I think USC would give Indiana a game.
God.
I think Lincoln Riley's USC team would give Indiana a game.
They certainly would, because they gave Penn State a game.
Start buying Indiana.
Hang on,
You want to keep doubting.
Hang on. What does Sharon Moore and the Wolverines have for Indiana this weekend?
So are we going to finally get off this charade if Indiana beats them by 25 points this weekend? We're going to get off this train?
No, I got to see them play Ohio State. If they have me pooping a brick in the fourth quarter, I'll be bought in on Indiana.
They would beat Penn State. Penn State stinks. They're terrible.
Come on. They just lost by 7 to the number 3 team in the country.
Now we're number 3 team in the country when a week ago we were not even going to qualify for the playoffs.
What do you mean, Colin?
So this is why I can't take this seriously because we're so back and forth.
It's more the lower the lows get. Lost a 1-point game to the number 1 team in the country on the road. The lows annoy me with Rizzo, not the highs.
Penn State didn't score an offensive touchdown.
But at the same time,
they were 3 feet away a couple times.
Exactly. Igbenogsen's interception was crazy.
Why is that an exactly? That's not an exactly. they can't score.
I think an exactly automatically,
they can't,
it's a stamp.
Yeah,
it's an officially valid point.
They cannot score. That is their problem. That is Overreaction Monday presented by Hard Rock Bet. It's Florida's official sports book. For the first time ever in Florida, bet on the Dolphins all season long. Try Hard Rock Bet now. Receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not win. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Well, I kind of wanted to save it for tomorrow, but I think we should do it now since the topic's on it. We're going to put together a 12-team college football playoff. We're going to do that next. Stick around. Russo Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hey, it's your boy JC. ESPN just decided to take their action in the Jason Kelsey phone smashing incident. We explain all on today's brand new Questionable Call with Josh Cohen, exclusively on YouTube. Subscribe now. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Hurricane fans, the final game of the season is here. Join us on November 23rd at Hard Rock Stadium as the Hurricanes take on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. It's Senior Day, a day to honor the incredible players who have given their all to the U. Let's give them a send-off they'll never forget and fill the stadium with Hurricanes pride. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today by visiting MiamiHurricanes.com, or by calling 1-800-GO-CANES.
At Unlimited Auto Wash, it's always a great day to get a wash. Hi, this is Kevin Dalton, the owner of Unlimited Auto Wash Club. Your car is dirty and you want it washed, but it might rain. No worries, we have a 72-hour rain check offer. For any reason, bring your car back for a free outside hand wash within 72 hours. Or join our Unlimited Club and receive unlimited hand washes inside and out with Tire Shine starting at $44.95 per month. Unlimited Auto Wash with 6 locations. Visit unlimitedautowashclub.com or call 561-WASH-ME-TOO.
ESPN 106.3 is your home for Miami Dolphins football. Every Miami Dolphins game right here, all season long on ESPN 106.3.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen for the accident attorneys, Anajar in Levine. Car accidents, truck accidents, slip and fall, trip and fall. Did you get injured on the job? Workers' comp problems? My friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine, they will fight for you. Remember, they do not get paid unless you get paid, and they will fight to get you the maximum compensation you know you deserve. Here's what you do. You just call. Call Anajar and Levine for your absolutely free consultation. Do not settle for just any attorneys. Demand Anajar and Levine, and demand the Anajar and Levine difference. It takes just one phone call to begin to take back control of your life. So do that. Take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys, take back control of your life.
Are you ready to make a difference for the environment while helping the visually impaired at the same time? Then donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind today by calling 1-800-983-6530. Every donated vehicle will either be properly recycled in an eco-friendly manner or given a new life through reuse. Donating your vehicle is easy. Simply call 1-800-983-6530 and Heritage for the Blind will do the rest. They'll even arrange for your vehicle to be picked up at no cost to you. And for a limited time, when you donate your car, you'll receive a $200 restaurant voucher and a 2-night, 3-day hotel stay at one of 50 locations. Call 1-800-983-6530 right now to schedule your vehicle donation and make a positive impact on the environment while helping others. Heritage for the Blind, where every car donation counts and every person makes a difference. Call 1-800-983-6530 now. This advertisement is paid for by Heritage for the Blind.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3, the college football playoff ranking. Forget the AP poll. This is the time of the year where we throw out the AP poll. Nobody cares anymore. AP, Joel Klatt said it on his show. I saw a clip of it. The AP poll is just straight bias because the AP does not want to admit that they were wrong about somebody. So whoever was high earlier in the year, despite the eye test, despite close wins, they keep them where they're at. That's how the AP poll is always operated. That's why it's a little fraudulent in my eyes. But now it's the college football playoff ranking. You got a 13-person committee that's going to determine who's in, who's out, who's going to get the bye, allegedly, because you got to see who's going to get the byes with the conference championships. But it's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3 from the City Play Studios right here in downtown West Palm Beach. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat behind the glass as always. There's going to be a lot of action here tomorrow with the election coming up. And we'll see what's going on there. Apparently, Donald Trump's going to be in town for that, so I didn't realize that. And apparently, this whole city is going to be essentially shut down. That was news to me. But start your day off with a bang because Election Day will be a packed house. But where I go to find my action is at F45 right in the morning. Every morning I go. F45 West Palm Beach. It's a functional-based workout, 45 minutes in and out. Coaches there. It's a social setting. It's not necessarily the Olympic lifts that I was used to growing up. But ultimately, I feel healthier. I feel more flexible. It's a great sweat. And there's a social component. So I meet a ton of people, like-minded fitness individuals that go to F45 daily or weekly or however long you want to go. And they go and they get their 45 minutes in. You hang around. You can chit-chat. You could go more than one in a day if you want. The coaches are so helpful. I love everything about F45. Go check out their Instagram, F45 West Palm Beach. They also have locations, of course, in Wellington and Palm Beach Gardens. So a ton of locations there. Go get started at 45. It's a ton of fun. I go every morning. Catch me there at the 7:30 or 6:30 showing daily. All right, college football playoff rankings. So I'm going to pull up the AP poll just so I have a frame of reference. But we're going to start with our conference champions, all right? So we got a Big 10, we got an SEC, we got a Big 12, and we got an ACC. All right? Let's knock out the obvious. Miami for ACC?
Yep.
Cool with that?
Yeah, talking to me?
You're involved in the conversation.
I'm in the committee?
Yeah, you're in
you
the committee.
You are. Yeah, of course you are.
I don't know. I guess I never got the invite in the mail.
Come on, just enough. Listen,
You're going to lose your invite if you
I think Miami, there has to be something said that they can't. The best way I can put Miami, how long are they going to live on the edge? How long are they going to live on the edge?
Until they play someone good.
That's what I mean. So, yes, they're going to win the ACC, but I'm not sold on them yet. And I'm sorry for all my Canes fans out here. I know there are a lot of them.
Miami. It could be an SMU situation, but that would be an upset. Big 12.
Oh, do we have to?
BYU, right?
God, what a waste of time.
I'm cool with that. I love BYU. I'm in on that. Top 10 on offense, top 10 on defense. Jake Retzlaff at quarterback, I'm in.
I like Retzlaff, but what a waste of time.
Hey, you want to... All right.
Listen, you don't like the little guy.
Yeah.
The whole point of this group of
You just
five
want a
thing,
Big Ten SEC fest, and that's
Of course
no fun.
I do.
Where's
Mega
the fun in that?
conference.
Where's the
Of course I do.
Where's the Cinderella aspect of that? College basketball starts today, and that's the way you think? I think Oregon is going to win the Big Ten.
Fair enough.
Now, it might be tough to beat Ohio State twice. It's tough to beat a team twice.
I think at a neutral site, look out, but I think Evan Stewart, Holden... I changed
my answer. I think Ohio State's going to win that Big Ten.
I think Oregon.
You think Oregon will beat them
think,
twice?
Yeah, I think they will. I think that's a cliche that we've repeated so many times that we believe it. That it's hard to beat a good team twice, but I think they will.
Colin, shame on me for not knowing how good the players on the outside for Oregon are. Like, Holden is unbelievable, the transfer from Alabama. Stewart, former five-star, unbelievable. Cooked Denzel Burke, a fifth-year senior All-American quarterback. Cooked him in a skillet.
And they got Tez Johnson, who's great, too. They got a lot of guys. There's no doubt about Oregon's talent.
But we could, how about this? Oregon, and then we'll put Ohio State on there as well.
That's fine. Doesn't make a difference. We're just making it 12. Oregon, let's say they win. All right, fine. SEC. I'm not that confident in Georgia, but they're probably the best, most well-rounded team of the bunch.
Let me say this, and I'm interested to hear what you guys got to say. They keep it close against some teams that probably shouldn't be. I think there's something to be said about pulling the game out, though. And I think they learned a lot from that Alabama game. You can't really do that against a good opponent. And I know that Alabama game was, 36-7, 31-7. At one point, they really put themselves behind the sticks. But they know how to win a close game. And I think the lower half of the SEC, like South Carolina, like Florida, these teams have fight. Unlike the teams in the Big Ten, they actually give good games to the upper echelon. So shame on me for not realizing that early on in the year. I think it's Georgia. I don't trust Texas. Who's Texas's best win? Michigan? They stink.
I agree. I tend to agree with this.
Vanderbilt.
You can't do. You got to do. You got to do a team that can make the SEC title game. There's only a select few.
No, I'm saying
Tennessee, Texas A&M, UGA, LSU, maybe with some help in Alabama.
I was more or less saying Texas's best win being Vanderbilt. Colin, I think it's Georgia. It has to be Georgia.
Fine, we'll go Georgia. All right, then we got a 5, 6, 7 through 12. And let's slate a group of 5. Let's knock that out. I think a group of 5 would be Boise in this situation. And if Boise doesn't lose, they're probably going to get that 11 or 12. Would you agree with this?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So unless somebody steals a bid.
I mean, if Army beats Notre Dame and they win their conference, they go.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
That's a big if.
Okay. And from what we saw the last time Notre Dame played a service academy, it's probably not going to be close.
Well, I think Army's better than Navy, but that's
like significantly better though. That game was an absolute blowout.
Navy was,
Where are they ranking Notre Dame right now in the AP poll?
I think 10.
Okay, yeah.
I think they would be higher.
But here's the thing.
They'd be higher.
I don't know how they're 10. I know A&M's lost 2 games. Their best win is A&M. They haven't played anybody outside of A&M. So they're 10 because of the Notre Dame factor. Their schedule is a joke.
So they're going to beat both the service academies who we're not in on. Then they beat A&M. I agree the schedule's a joke, but they're still going to have one loss. You got to think about losses at this point.
Okay.
I think out of 5, you'd probably put in the Big Ten loser. So let's put Ohio State.
Yeah. So right now, Colin, I have Oregon, Miami, BYU, Georgia, Ohio State, and Boise State.
Yes.
Is that what we got? Okay.
Boise State's down to 12. Let's go 5 through 12 now. The 6th seed. The 6th seed in this situation will probably be the SEC loser. So, I mean, you think Texas is going to beat them again, but I would say it's the SEC loser. Let's go with Texas. All right? Does that make sense?
Yep, it does.
Makes sense to me.
All righty. Now this is where you get tricky. In terms of how you seed this.
Need 5 more teams, boys.
You need 5 more teams. Notre Dame's getting in, so let's figure out where to place them.
Do we have to?
Yes.
You're guaranteeing an undefeated rest of the season for Notre Dame?
You think that they're gonna win? How many more weeks?
They got Florida
4,
State,
5,
they got
4?
Virginia, they got Army, and they got USC. USC is terrible. Florida State is the worst team in college football.
Can't
Army is their tough game.
You're telling me Lincoln Riley can't give us the gift that keeps on giving?
No.
And that's Notre Dame losing
You
late
love
in the
2
year?
teams for some strange reason, USC and Penn State. Both teams are rough to watch.
I'm a Big Ten guy, man.
I'm going to assume that Notre Dame would get a home game.
We'll put them in.
I think Notre Dame would get a home game.
Can I let the judge
I'll
be
put
known?
I'll put them at 8. That's my take.
Colin, can the court be known I'm not a fan of that? Can we have that on record?
It's on record.
Do you want that? Are you comfortable with that? Would you give them a home game in that situation? I think they would. A 1-loss Notre Dame team, I think, would get a home game and an 8-9 game against an SEC team.
I think it depends on how you value good wins versus bad losses. That Notre Dame was the worst loss of anyone we're considering in this playoff.
I rather, Colin, and you're going to make fun of me, I'd rather see Penn State, Alabama,
1-loss Penn State or 1-loss
LSU.
Notre Dame?
1-loss Penn State. Because they kept that loss is not a bad loss. It's a touchdown loss against a team that's going to be
I don't disagree.
top
And
5
you're
team.
also assuming that they're going to beat Minnesota, which is not going to be an easy game.
Well, if we're assuming they're 1-loss, did they win that game? Yeah.
Colin's high on Minnesota because once again I made us take Illinois and they didn't cover.
Minnesota's also good. They should have beaten Michigan. They should have 7 wins right now. They would be ranked quite well if that was their record.
Okay, all right. So
let's knock out the obviouses. Indiana and Penn State. Let's place them. I think the Indiana would definitely play a road game. So let's put them at 10.
I like that for now.
Just for the sake of you guys getting that one, we'll give Notre Dame a 9, and let's assume they play Penn State. And I think it's a matter of the committee would, at that point, decide where they want that game to be played. And I think they would want it to be played at Notre Dame. That's my
really?
take.
Over
Yes.
Beaver Stadium?
Yes.
That'll probably break non-SEC television records.
Agreed.
And Notre Dame, Penn State is a rivalry that should exist. Those 2 schools, traditional independent schools, should exist. They should be scheduled every year.
That's the one the committee wants. They want a Notre Dame Penn State game, and I think they would decide on where that game would want to be played.
Don't you?
Yeah, that's the big money fight. They're talking wrestling. You book the biggest fight.
That game's not going to be fun to watch. But yeah,
I'd be, to be honest, as a Big Ten guy, I'd be rooting for Penn State because I can't stand Notre Dame. So
all right. Now you got a 7 and an 11 available. Now you got, in my opinion, unless you you're not putting in another Big 12, unless you put in another ACC, which you probably won't. You already have 4 Big Tens in. Do you put in 2 SECs?
Can I make a case? Boys, can I make a case here? I want you guys here. I want the winner of Alabama and LSU this week. Sorry. I think the winner of that game remains undefeated through the rest of the way.
You think, okay. So
I want Alabama or LSU.
You want Alabama or LSU there?
Winner of that game. Yeah.
LSU still has Vanderbilt, so there's that.
Okay, so Colin, let's say Bama wins. All right, hypothetically speaking. Sorry, Cousin Blake. Let's say Bama wins. All right, so let's put Bama on the list thinking they're going to win that game.
Alabama would be the 11 in that case. In my opinion.
Are you okay with that, C-Cat?
Bama's -2.5. I could see it, yeah.
Okay.
So, and then what, Tennessee? You'd have to put Tennessee at 7. So that means you'd have 4 Big Ten, 4 SEC. All right, so here's what what?
Sorry, I'm going to look at, you're okay. If Tennessee loses at Georgia, you're still putting them in? They lost to Arkansas, which looks like...
Yeah, I mean, actually,
if they
probably wouldn't.
Yeah, Colin, I think they're going to lose to Georgia.
But is the SEC not going to get that nod where the SEC is going to get less teams in than the Big Ten? You think that's how the committee's going to play it?
Colin, we already have the entire Big Ten in here. Colin, the Big Ten this year is Indiana, Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon.
You understand what I'm saying? Think about from the committee. the committee is now acknowledging that there are less teams qualified for the college football playoff than the Big Ten. I'm not sure if they want to do that.
I think they
Colorado?
have to. But they hang on. They got it.
Just saying, it'd be fun.
They got it, but
do you match it with 4 teams in from the SEC, or do you keep it at 3? And then who are you going to put in outside of that? This is going to be another SEC school. You're not putting in Clemson. You're not putting in Iowa State. You're not putting in Kansas State. You're not putting in the Big 12 loser. Yeah, I'd be shocked if they put in another
Colin,
SEC
one of these,
school. You'd have to put in 2 SEC schools.
Quickly, one of these teams, Tennessee, A&M, Ole Miss. It's one of those teams that would get in. Agreed?
Yeah, probably. And they wouldn't get that 7 seed. So it's a matter of who that 7 would be. So maybe they put Penn State and Notre Dame at that 7-10 game and then do something else at that 8. So the 12 that would probably get in if that started today would be Oregon, Georgia, BYU, Miami as the byes. Then from what we have, we would have Ohio State taking on Boise State. You'd have Texas taking on Alabama, which would be interesting because that would be a fun one because they haven't played. And you'd have Indiana taking on A&M, Penn State, Notre Dame.
Wow. Sign
That's
me up.
capitalism. I love the college football playoff,
I
man.
do too. And it's
America rocks.
So funny to me that people didn't want the 12-team playoff. I'm like, dude, you don't want more meaningful
Who didn't want
football?
the 12? Who didn't want that?
A lot of
This is
traditionalists
a
out
lot
there.
of people, and
Get a
this is
break.
Colin. This is the argument. All right, we'll get to the argument on the flip side.
Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Anna Jar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Hi, this is Blaine Isbell, Corporate Vice President of Team IP. For over 30 years, Team IP has been a national leader in decorated apparel and promotional products. National corporate brands and 22 college bowl games, including the Boca Raton Bowl, make Team IP their partner of choice. Team IP, located right in our community in Stewart, is a proud partner of ESPN West Palm. Contact me anytime at 877-821-8643 or head to teamip.com and take the first step in making Team IP your team to boost your brand.
Hi, it's Luis Fonsi. In the world of music, versatility allows you to capture the moment and create something amazing. Ford SUVs are designed with the same versatility in mind. The Ford Escape or Explorer can make any day a beach day with room for family and all your gear. And the Ford Bronco or Bronco Sport give you the freedom to go over, around, or through almost anything that comes your way. Ford SUVs, perfect for South Florida. See your local Ford dealer today.
ESPN West Palm and Humana are proud to recognize military veterans within our local community. Our Veteran of the Month is Richard Codd. Richard served 4 years in the United States Air Force while stationed in Montana, with 2 overseas deployments in Kuwait. Throughout his service, he exhibited remarkable dedication and skill. Richard is committed to honoring our nation's heroes every day in his personal and professional life while he lives in Port St. Lucie. He's an avid soccer fan and devoted supporter of Real Madrid, one of the best teams in the world, with the likes of Jude Bellingham and Vinicius Jr. His favorite athlete is none other than Real Madrid legend Cristiano Ronaldo. Join us in extending our heartfelt gratitude to Richard for his unwavering service, sacrifice, and continued dedication to his fellow veterans. Richard Codd is the Veteran of the Month, presented by ESPN West Palm and Humana.
Hey, it's your boy JC. ESPN just decided to take their action in the Jason Kelce phone smashing incident. We explain all on today's brand new Questionable Call with Josh Cohen, exclusively on YouTube. Subscribe now. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Time now for a PNC pause. PNC Bank is committed to making a difference in the lives of the customers they serve in the South Florida community. See how at PNC.com. You're listening to ESPN 106.3.
Be a part of the excitement as the nation's top collegiate place kickers are honored Monday, December 9th at the Lou Groza Award Banquet, presented by the Orange Bowl. Meet the top college place kickers in America, and the area's best prep players and coaches are honored. Guest speaker, former NFL head coach Dave Shula. The Lou Groza Collegiate Place Kicker Award Banquet, Monday, December 9th at the West Palm Beach Marriott. For tickets, call 561-233-3180 or visit LouGrozaAward.com.
Hi, I'm attorney Robert Rubenstein, and this is Rubenstein's Rules for Personal Injury. Rule number 11. Truck accidents require special attention. Sometimes trucking companies put their drivers in a difficult position, and accidents happen. Driving without sleep can be as dangerous as drunk driving. Loads can be too heavy. Evidence needs to be preserved for inspection without delay. Some trucking companies hide insurance, but we know how to find it. Call Rubenstein Law at 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Offices in Palm Beach and throughout Florida.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Second hour. It's a Monday edition of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3 live from the City Place Studios right here in downtown West Palm Beach. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, of course, behind the glass. November 4th, Week 9 in the NFL, Week 10 of college football, essentially in the books. You've got Tampa Bay, Kansas City tonight on Monday Night Football. College basketball starts today. Election night is tomorrow. Wow, there's a whole lot going on. Daylight savings was over the weekend. Move the clocks back, get an extra hour of sleep. Now it gets dark at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Are we a fan of that?
No, not at all.
I like it, the sun coming up a little earlier in the day.
Yeah, I played some golf this morning. It was nice.
Did you?
Huh?
On what time did you get out?
I left the house at 5:40 a.m.
What was your tee time?
7:08 a.m.
You were first light?
Mm-hmm.
And how was what point of the day did it start getting bright out?
So the sunrise, 6:30.
I was about to ask you, hey, this is how you know I'm from the Midwest. I was about to ask you if you had a frost delay. That's how you know I'm from the Midwest.
So 6:30 a.m. and now, I mean, I used to leave the house and it's like 7 a.m. and all of a sudden it's dark out. So I'm for it. I mean, people are getting upset that the sun's going down earlier in the day. Grow up.
Club vibe in
I
here
don't.
now.
I mean, I'd count if you ask me. I'd rather have it later, but it doesn't. Please, it doesn't matter. We're working anyway.
What difference does it make? I mean, now it's a little dark in here, so it's a little strange, but I'm for it. Some people want to make way with it. I like the daylight savings. It's fun for those 2 days a year.
Hang on. Is it over 75 degrees and sunny every day? You will never hear me complain, guys, about daylight savings time. All right, when it was the frozen tundra up in Peoria and Cleveland, when it'd be 10 degrees and abandoned buildings and disgusting outside, yeah, you might hear me complain about daylight savings. Not down here, bro.
No abandoned buildings here. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3, presented by our pals over at Hard Rock Bet. Well, now you've seen 9-10 weeks of football. It's time to get started on Hard Rock Bet with college basketball starting tonight, too. The NBA in full swing. There's so many different things to get involved on. Last year, you really couldn't legally bet in Florida until Week 14 of the NFL season. Now, entering Week 9, 10, you can still bet on this week's games, the division races, MVP, Rookie of the Year, so much more. Each game. Bet on the touchdown scores, passing yards, total points, so much more. There's so many different ways that you could actually put money on something. Hard Rock Bet's got you covered on all corners. You could also bet on the college football, even if you don't want to bet a ton of money. Put together a parlay. Put together a bunch of different smaller bets to increase your odds. I saw somebody last week on National Tight Ends Day, which was last Sunday. They put together anytime touchdown score parlay. 8 legs, 8 different tight ends. Anytime touchdown scores turned a $20 bet into $140,000. $140,000 did on a Hard Rock Bet. So can you. Get started today. All you got to do is download the Hard Rock Bet on the App Store or the Google Play Store, or go online to hardrock.bet. If you try it now, you get up to $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not win. That first bet can be a parlay, it can be a prop, it can be the over. Whatever you like to bet, any games you choose, you either win your first bet or get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. Hard Rock Bet. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Considered by gambling. Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Kyle, I wanted to say, shout out to our friends at Hard Rock. I looked at the futures this morning for NCAA, and the Buckeyes are back at the best odds, plus 325. Oregon is third behind Georgia and Ohio State. Makes sense of that for me.
All right, talking about value picks. I mean, maybe it's yeah.
I mean,
people are banking on Ohio State's talent because they have just so much talent. They're banking on the talent to just all come together at the right time, and I think that's sort of the methodology, but still
behind
those lines.
I think we could agree that Oregon has probably been the best team in the country 9 weeks into this thing. So I was a little confused.
To this point, I agree, but Ohio State's got talent. I think, and also if they run into each other again, it'd be a tough game for Oregon to win in that situation.
And how about Oregon to end the year? Listen to this ringer of a schedule: Maryland, Whiskey, and Washington. God, what a ringer.
Well, SEC
they're going
has
through
an
the
extra
gauntlet.
FCS school, so I'm not too mad at that.
Colin, they're going through the gauntlet to end the year, man.
Well, this is you guys love the Big Ten. I'm the only realist here that tells you that the Big Ten is a terrible football conference.
No, it's not. It's top heavy.
Top heavy is certainly a word. You got a bunch of unplayable football teams.
The last
6 to 8 of them.
Last time I checked, there were 2 Big Ten teams in the national championship last year. You remember?
I remember.
You remember, brother?
That happened.
How are those 2 teams doing this year?
Hey, none of your business.
It's all right. We got Oregon and Ohio State. We're good.
We'll save the 5 and 5 for the flip side. We want to talk to Jonathan Zaslow, the Zaslow Show 2.0, and the college football tour on ESPN Radio, a South Florida native himself. Get his thoughts on some things. Get his thoughts on our 12-team playoff that we put together on the college football side of things. Stick around. Russo Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
PNC Bank is committed to making a difference in the South Florida community. That's why they offer military banking products, champion veteran-owned businesses, and provide support to local organizations that empower veterans and their families with the resources they need to succeed. PNC Bank. See how they can help you at pnc.com/military. The PNC Financial Services Group, Incorporated, all rights reserved. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
I'm Ellie Anajar of Anajar and Levine. Injured in a car crash? Never rush to settle with insurance companies, and never settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine. Our experienced legal team will fight to win you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call me, Ellie Anajar, for a free consultation and take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Tee up your taste buds with the ultimate pairing, great food and golf. Theo Dorsey here at The House in West Palm Beach. Overlooking the park's world-class 18-hole golf course, The House offers coastal American dishes that will satisfy anyone's palate. The House is open Thursday through Sunday for lunch, brunch, and dinner. Stop by for an entree and receive a free round at the park's The Lit 9 Par 3 course. On The House. Visit thehousewestpalm.com for their full menu and to make reservations.
Attention business owners, the next several months are going to be super busy. Why not let us take some of the burden off of you? Get the help you need from Intelligent Office in Palm Beach Gardens. Professional live receptionists to answer, screen, and forward all of your calls to you live. Why do you need a virtual assistant? No high salaries, no holidays or sick pay, no call-outs, no turnover, and no additional equipment. Call 561-472-8400 or visit intelligentoffice.com to learn more how we can help you streamline your day.
ESPN West Palm and Humana are proud to recognize military veterans within our local community. Our Veteran of the Month is Richard Codd. Richard served 4 years in the United States Air Force while stationed in Montana, with 2 overseas deployments in Kuwait. Throughout his service, he exhibited remarkable dedication and skill. Richard is committed to honoring our nation's heroes every day in his personal and professional life while he lives in Port St. Lucie. He's an avid soccer fan and devoted supporter of Real Madrid. one of the best teams in the world with the likes of Jude Bellingham and Vinicius Jr. His favorite athlete is none other than Real Madrid legend Cristiano Ronaldo. Join us in extending our heartfelt gratitude to Richard for his unwavering service, sacrifice, and continued dedication to his fellow veterans. Richard Codd is the Veteran of the Month, presented by ESPN West Palm and Humana.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen. When you need auto repair, honesty and reliability are everything. Trust the home for honest, reliable service since 1970. St. Lucie Battery and Tire. St. Lucie Battery and Tire has all the tire and battery brands in stock for cars, trucks, RVs, marine, power sports, golf carts, everything. Major and minor service repairs, free tire pressure, battery checks. St. Lucie Battery and Tire, over 50 years in our community. And now with 18 full-service locations, West Palm to the Treasure Coast. Go to slbt.com. That's slbt.com.
She ain't gon' tie me down while you on the road. Got all the shirts, all the hats, all the clothes. What you want right now? What up right now? I think you need to close your mouth, cause you ain't gon' tie me down. Tie me down, tie me down.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Another head coach domino fell with Dennis Allen being fired at its Saints head coach. They got the special teams guy filling in as interim. It seems to be two now that have fallen down the domino with the head coaches, and it should be interesting who follows suit and what teams are going to be getting out on their head coaches. Another name that hasn't really been brought up a ton is Zach Taylor. He's somebody that's been extended, I think, for a couple of years now, so I don't know if they'd really let him go.
Colin, I think there's only one. There's only one more who could possibly get fired midseason, and it's your boy.
Yeah, it's Peterson. Because I didn't know this, and it was a good call out by one of our interns. But Mike McCarthy, his contract straight up expires at the end of the year, which is rare. So I think they're just going to let him play that out, and then Cowboys are going to revamp and refigure it out after the season is concluded. But it's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Like to welcome in now via Comrex and maybe via video, I'm not sure, Mr. Jonathan Zaslow, the Zaslow Show 2.0, and the college football tour on ESPN Radio Weekly. Big college football guy, is a South Florida native himself. Mr. Zaslow, welcome for joining. How you doing today?
What up,
Look
Zaz?
at you. Look at us. We're on video. This is a pleasure. How are you guys?
Good, partner.
Clear as day.
Yeah.
You're joining us. If
I
you're
know.
sitting right next to us. So first of all, where were you over the weekend? Let's start there.
We called an audible this week, just like we did last week, and we went back to Ann Arbor. So it was actually the only place that we are visiting for a second time. So we were in Ann Arbor for number one Oregon and Michigan. Lousy game. Michigan's a very tough watch, but luckily I liked Ann Arbor, so I had no problem going back. They do tailgates great, and I mean, look, the Big Ten was clearly the focal point of this past weekend. So even though you had Oregon, Michigan, there were a lot of stakes involved because of what took place with Ohio State and Penn State right before that game.
Well, I mean, this week was categorized by a whole lot of upsets, and we were trying to make sense of it and figure it all out. But so I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of these things here. Penn State lost to Oregon. I don't know how much of the game you actually watched because you were at a different game at 3:30. You probably
I saw a good
some
deal.
of it.
I was watching in the press box before the Michigan game started. I saw a good deal.
Penn State, I didn't think they played particularly well in the game at all. James Franklin now drops to 1-10 against Ohio State and is 1-30 essentially against top 5 opponents. I don't think they're all that good, but they're still in a position where them and also probably Indiana you're going to be looking at a 4-bid Big Ten. Is that what we're looking at this point?
Well, we're going to get our first glimpse tomorrow, all right? There's nothing else going on tomorrow. All eyes are focused on the release of the first ever college football playoff ranking, all right? So we're all dialed in on that tomorrow. So we'll get a glimpse into what the committee is thinking. 4 teams in the Big Ten. This hurts Penn State. I mean, there's no doubt about it because now it's a very uphill climb to try and get to that Big Ten championship game. Saturday was obviously a great day for Indiana, who really does look like a juggernaut. I mean, we'll find out for sure when Indiana takes on Ohio State in a couple of weeks, but the door is wide open for Indiana to try and jump into the mix there and potentially face Oregon in the Big Ten championship.
Zaz, is Oregon still the best team in the country in your eyes? I know we don't care about the AP anymore with the CFB Top 25 coming out, but they were unanimously the number one team in the country.
Yeah, I think it's Georgia. I do.
I'm with you.
I think Georgia's the best team. You know, I certainly believe that second half that they had against Alabama, is as good as anybody can play. It's just they also played their worst game of the season in the first half against Alabama. They crushed Texas. I think
they're a strange team. Beck stinks. Beck's not that good.
They know how to win a close game, Zaz. You're a Gator. You went to Florida. I thought Florida fought very hard in that game, but when push came to shove, they found out a way to win.
I don't think the final score is 34-20. So if you didn't see the game, like, okay, Georgia kicked the crap out of Florida.
No.
Really didn't. That game was close. That game was very close. But I don't think that takes away from Georgia because, A, it's a rivalry game. It's a neutral site. It should be a good game. But also, Florida has been a much better team since the first few weeks of the season. Much better. And also, let's not forget, you give the Gators a little bit of credit, too, because they lose Lagway halfway through the game, and they still fought and they kept up there with the Bulldogs. But I think we forgot really up until the Texas game, which was, 3 weeks ago? I think we forgot who Georgia is. And they reminded us that week. And this is a team that has dominated college football, we're going on 6-7 years now. So I think Georgia's the best team in the country. I don't care if they're not ranked number one.
And last thing on that, it says, they've been going on the road to a couple of bad teams the last couple of years playing in an SEC East. I think playing big-time SEC West opponents on the road, too, has significantly helped them as well. Now they've really checked all the boxes for me. They've won and looked good against good SEC teams. That Bama game, I understand they didn't win the game, but my God, it was the game of the year.
Yeah, maybe. And here's the thing. It really, they got a huge one coming up in a couple of weeks against Tennessee, which we're going to be in Athens for that ESPN Radio College Football Tailgate. I'm bringing my family to that one. How about that? Well, I'm bringing the wife and the older son, and we're all going to be at that game, so I'm very much looking forward to that. But the bottom line is that college football playoff ranking is going to come out tomorrow, and all that matters is for a team like Georgia, just win the SEC championship. That's it. Win the SEC championship, and you're either going to be ranked number 1 or you're going to be ranked number 2, and you're going to get a first-round bye. That's all that matters.
Well, we're looking at this point. We tried to figure it out. We put together a 12-team college football playoff ourselves. And I guess the real questions lie in not only, I'm going to assume that the 3 or 4 Big Ten teams are going to get in. Are we on the same page as that the ACC and the Big 12 are probably only going to get one apiece?
Absolutely. Iowa State losing. All right, now you're only talking one team out of the Big 12. And Clemson losing. I mean, who the heck saw that? You could think whatever you want about the Hurricanes, but Clemson is sitting with 7 points in the fourth quarter at home against Louisville. The Canes scored 52 at Louisville. All right, you're getting – Canes don't play defense, but come on. You're getting – I think you're only going to get one team from the ACC, and I'm really interested in where Notre Dame fits in to the committee's thoughts, because really for last week when the AP came out was the first week that Notre Dame is now in potentially the playoff picture. So we could get an independent, and obviously, the way it looks right now is it would be the Mountain West champion, which is Boise State, all the way up to number 12. Maybe Army has something to say about that in a couple weeks when that whole the season plays out. But I think we're only going to get one ACC team. I think you guys are right.
Yeah, Jonathan Zaslow, the Zaslow Show 2.0 and the College Football Tour, joining us now on Russo and Rizzo on the video stream as well, so you can see his face alongside.
Look at my face, everybody.
On ESPN West Palm on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. But Zaz, so we were talking about this too. So now all of a sudden, this is a situation where you're going to have a number of teams, at least from where we stand right now. Of course, this is going to change in a couple of weeks. But if you look at it from our 1 through 4, I'll just run through it really quickly. Let's assume that Oregon's going to get that bye, Georgia's going to get that bye, BYU's going to get that bye, and Miami's going to get that bye. So the 5 to 12, we assumed to Boise State. Now you're in a situation where the Big Ten runner-up, Ohio State, the SEC runner-up, let's assume Texas, would both get in. I'm going to assume that Notre Dame will get in as well. And then I'm going to assume, on top of that somebody like a Penn State would probably still get in. And, go ahead.
Tennessee, Indiana, those teams are getting in right now.
Tennessee is also going to have another loss on the schedule if we assume that Georgia plays the way they're supposed to play against Tennessee. So they still have them in the schedule, which is why I'm a little up and down on them. But now you got a couple SEC teams. You get the LSUs of the world. You got the A&Ms of the world, who now has a tricky time here because they got Texas still in the regular season schedule.
Yeah, A&M's in big trouble now.
And you got Alabama, and they're not going to get any benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And Alabama and go down the Ole Miss as well, all going to be fighting for one or two spots there at the bottom of that college football playoff. It's going to be a really tricky finish to the SEC.
Yeah, and Alabama obviously already a 2-loss team. Monster game at LSU coming up this weekend. And then obviously you got the Iron Bowl at the end of the season. But if Alabama can beat it, like this is an elimination game. This is a real elimination game this weekend.
Both sides probably.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an elimination game, Alabama at LSU. I have to believe if Alabama can get past LSU this weekend, I understand Alabama's a 2-loss team.
But they have 2 huge wins.
And I feel like we've seen enough of Alabama this season to say, yeah, that's one of the 12 best teams in the country.
Right.
Like I know it doesn't really work like that, but for the most part, we've seen enough of Alabama, I believe, to know they're a really good team and should be in a playoff spot.
Yeah, and Zaz, I took it a step further. I said the winner of this weekend's game is probably going to get in that 11 or 12 spot. I know that the Iron Bowl and there are a couple of games at the end of the year, maybe you think, all right, there's a possibility. But I think whoever wins this game wins out and probably ends up as one of the last teams.
Can you
in the
imagine? The 12 spot you got to figure is going to be if it's Boise State, and it'll be that team.
Who are they going to put at that 11? Are they going to put a good SEC team at that 11 spot?
See, that's
You're really screwing over that 16.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Can you imagine? You're the 6th seed, so you're hosting a playoff game on your campus in the first round, and if you look at it right now, that would be Texas probably. So a Texas hosting Alabama
Unbelievable.
in the first round?
Sign me up, Zaz.
That's very I guess not unfair, but that's a bad draw for Texas.
Now, to throw up a hypothetical, if Indiana loses to Ohio State here in a couple weeks, but finish the season with 1 loss, don't get a bid to the Big Ten championship game, do they get a bid?
Oh, that's a great question.
I think yes. But that would be at 1 loss. They throttled everybody else. I think the caliber of loss to Ohio State will matter, but I think they'd get the nod.
And Zaz, I personally don't think they do just because of the strength of schedule. I think the SEC and that LSU team or the Alabama team who has more impressive wins would probably get the nod over them. Even Tennessee, Zaz.
Well, you're only throwing in one of Alabama or LSU, period. They're not going to give that.
But you
get a 3-loss team in.
Guys, that caliber of team, 2 losses in the SEC, pretty good wins on the schedule.
The part that I find interesting is, are we going to have a scenario where a team, because they lost in, let's say, the SEC championship game, they wind up with 2 losses on the season, and we let a team into the playoff who only has 1 loss in the SEC but didn't even compete for the SEC championship. That seems unfair.
Yeah,
it seems unfair that you're competing for the SEC championship. It's like, all right, if you win it, you get an automatic bid and you get a bye, but if you lose it, you miss out entirely and someone else jumps you. That doesn't seem very fair.
I agree. I don't think the committee will do that. But they're trying to make some sort of stakes attached to the conference championship games. That there'll be stakes in the ACC and the Big 12. That's where the bid stealing will stand.
Correct.
But whoever plays in that SEC championship game, they're of course going to favor, at least in some degree, that the team actually played in the game. I would assume that they would get in. You'd hope so. But I have also said this as well. Imagine if a team that gets into let's say a Texas and a Georgia get in, and the third team in the SEC doesn't necessarily have to play that tough game. They're probably going to get a bid anyway. They get essentially a bye week, and then they're probably going to sit around and get a home game in that college football committee for the college football playoff rankings.
Right, you get a bye before having to play your playoff game.
And then you play, if you're a higher ranked seed, you're going to be playing at 10 or 11 or 12, which might not be a good team.
Quickly to interject, Zaz, Notre Dame has that as well, not being in a conference.
Right. Notre Dame, if they get in, would have the bye by not being in a conference championship game, even though they would then have to play in the first round. They do get to rest a little bit.
Correct.
Yeah. Jonathan Zaslow joining us as to transition to the NFL a little bit. Dennis Allen out as head coach for the New Orleans Saints. Dak Prescott going to be down for a couple weeks for the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys, of course, fell again, and the Saints have lost 7 straight. So two teams that have been an absolute disaster on either end. I want to ask you, is there a team that's really poised for a fire sale here? I think it's probably Dallas and the Saints because they have talent to give up, number one, and two, they need to get money off the books. So are there teams that are going to be slated here for a fire sale now that the deadline's coming up tomorrow?
I don't think it's going to be Dallas because
that's not Jones' style.
I know, right, and I know Jerry Jones already mentioned something to the effect of they're not giving up on the season. I think Jerry Jones convinces himself. He looks at the division and says, okay, we have 5 losses. We're 3 back of Washington, who we still play 2 more times. Like, I think that's probably the way he decides, look at where, hey, we control our own fate there. If we beat Washington twice, we're in this thing. It's fantasy world to think that way, right. But I think that's probably what they wind up doing.
What magnitude of trades do you see maybe the Lions doing for that defensive end position?
See, that's interesting, right? Because
the talks have been Zadarius Smith recently.
Yes. So if you throw around one of the huge names, like I know Tannenbaum was talking on Get Up a few days ago.
Wow, Jahmyr Gibbs.
For Myles Garrett, and then you're giving up the farm. I don't think you have to do something like that if you're Detroit. I understand it's, hey, this is your Super Bowl window. Let's go all in. Let's win a Super Bowl. I think they're the best team in the NFL. All right.
By far.
I think they're the best team in the entire NFL. So if you're the best team, if you're already the best, I understand trying to improve a little bit because this is your window. But if you're already the best, I don't think you want to give away your future as well to try and be even better than the best right now. So I think a smaller move, like you see what Kansas City did, they gave up a 4th-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. I would try and plug a hole with someone like that who maybe costs you a 3rd. I'd even give up a 2nd-round pick for somebody, but I'm not trading for someone like Max Crosby or someone like Myles Garrett who's going to cost me 3 first-round picks. I'm not doing that.
Boys, the Lions are better than the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. By far.
Okay.
I think that team's a juggernaut. I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They know how to win in a big game. So, of course, that would be a very, very
Every game
matchup.
is close to the Chiefs. They have 2 double-digit wins this year, the Chiefs. The Lions have 4 double-digit wins. And I look at this Detroit team. I think they're dominant in all phases of the game. There haven't been very many games this year where you watch the Chiefs. I know the San Francisco game was impressive. They only won it by 10, but I don't see there are many games this year with the Chiefs where you look at it and say, wow, just dominant from first quarter to fourth quarter. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and people said that about the Patriots for years when they keep winning and they're not necessarily as dominant as always, and then they get to the postseason and the Patriots turn into the Patriots. I think that's where the Chiefs are heading. The second they get into the postseason, the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs.
No, that's kind of what happened last year.
And they're just always going to be a tough out because they just know how to win through and through. But in terms of the coaches, Dennis Allen out. Is there going to be another domino to fall midseason? Of course, the obvious one is Doug Peterson. Zach Taylor's been thrown around. I think they're going to let McCarthy coach out that contract. Where do you think these coaches are going to lie here? Antonio Pierce, is he in trouble? Who are some of these coaches that might be on hot water the next couple weeks here?
Well, listen, you're in your first year as head coach, and in the middle of the season, you already fired 2 coordinators. We're talking Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce is not an NFL head coach. Now he's not going to be fired mid-season. You look ridiculous. It's in his first year. That's not going to happen. I thought Peterson. I thought that he survived that second London game. I think it probably bought him the rest of the season. I mean, 2-7, the Jaguars. Colin, I'm sorry, your team's terrible.
Terrible.
Right? I do think Peterson winds up surviving the season. I don't think McCarthy winds up getting fired. Dennis Allen, it's justified. I'm still on this. Well, I was on the side that I thought Dayball could have been fired in season, but Mara already said 2 weeks ago they're committed to both Dayball.
I don't
and
understand
Shane.
it.
I like that. I
don't get it either. I thought Dayball was done. I don't get
it. Me too. But last one from me on the NFL is there's a lot of stink about the Browns and. We talked about possibly Micah Parsons being traded. We talked about the Myles Garrett thing and what Tannenbaum said. But, I mean, what do you do if you're them? What do? You got Watson, who's on a horrible contract. You have talent. You have players that you could trade like Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Myles Garrett, a couple people, Nick Chubb. What do you do if you're the Browns?
I think you're going to chalk this up to a lost season, obviously.
Right. Because I think Stefanski's the right coach.
I think Stefanski's a good coach. I think you're going to chop this up to a lost season, and right now they're a 2-7 team. I know there's a ton. I think there's 9 2-win teams in the league right now. It's a very quarterback-rich draft that we're going to have next season. If you're Cleveland, you draft a quarterback. You know you have a great team on the defensive side. You draft a quarterback. Now, what do you do with Watson? I don't know.
You got to eat it. You got to eat it. You're not getting rid of him. You
I
just gotta
certainly
eat it.
think you got to eat it, but it's not like eat it where you cut him and then you eat it. That's not even feasible. You won't be able to field the team if you cut him. The dead cap hit is unbelievable. So he could be your backup quarterback. All right. God forbid whoever's going to be your starter gets hurt. Okay, Watson goes in. But the Haslam family, they are not interested in moving off of Deshaun Watson. So you keep him on the team. I suppose you really have no other choice. I think you draft a quarterback first round.
Zaz, can he play third string? I mean, I don't mean to add insult to injury here, but I mean, honest to God, guys, you can't play him.
Zaz,
you can't play him next year.
Yeah, you're in on the quarterback draft this year?
I think there's a lot of quarterbacks available this coming draft. I feel like there's probably like 5 quarterbacks who are going to wind up going in the first round this year.
I think
I'm stuck around 2.
I personally think Cam Ward, and I don't want any others, no?
I think Cam Ward and Sanders are head and shoulders above the rest. Carson Beck stinks. Let's call it like we see it. He is not call it where the junior year where they're starting to get in their own head a little bit with the draft type that's happened before with the quarterbacks at the college level. I don't think he's any good at all. Are you in on Ewers?
Quinn Ewers has taken a hit this year, that's for sure. What about Dylan Gabriel up in Oregon?
I see Bo Nix. Bo Nix did it last year.
He's having a terrific season, So that's like 4 guys right there. And it's not like all those teams that are drafted in the top 10 are going to take quarterbacks. A lot of them were teams that took a quarterback in the last couple of years.
So they're not as quarterback. It's not as quarterback needy as it has been in years past. But the Saints are going to be in position to get a quarterback. The Raiders absolutely are going to be in position to get a quarterback.
And who knows what the Panthers do? I mean, if Bryce Young can win a few games, a couple games toward the end of this season, maybe you change your mind if you're Carolina. And the Colts too. The Colts seem to be leaning in a direction where they're not done with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I agree with both of those points, and I think Young played well yesterday. I think he played a good game, and the stat line wasn't as indicative of how he actually played. He played better than his stat line.
I want to say it was the Saints. It was the Saints.
I got news for you, though. Minnesota's probably not giving up on J.J. McCarthy. If you're going to have to pay Sam Darnold after this year, you tell me one of these quarterback needy teams are not going to try and make a deal for Darnold?
Yeah, I think Darnold has the Rams written all over him. I don't think he's going to want to leave that. He's done the team hopping before. He's not just going to go to the biggest bag. I think he's going to go to somewhere that's associated with O'Connell in some sense. So I think McVay makes a lot of sense because I don't think Stafford's going to be there forever.
What about Stefanski for Darnold? That makes sense?
And then you don't even have to go in the draft. Yeah, but here's the thing.
You got
to pay him.
Yeah,
so you're talking about an insane amount of money tied up in the quarterback.
You got to pay him, and also, does he want to attach himself to that? He's played for terrible franchises. I think he's going to want to go somewhere that's a little bit more sustainable, no?
I think the money's the big thing. Can you have X amount of dollars tied up in that quarterback position? It's too much. I don't think you could do it if you're Cleveland.
Got it.
Zaz, where can everybody catch you and listen to you?
Yeah, hey, college football tailgate every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN Radio. This weekend, we are in South Bend. I've never been to South Bend. It's Notre Dame playing the worst team in the country. That's FSU. But I'm very much looking forward to South Bend and going to see Notre Dame for the first time. Colin, I'm sorry. I know you do not like Notre Dame. You got family ties there. I'm very excited.
A fan.
I'm very excited to go to South Bend.
I'm not either, Zaz, but it's okay.
Well, I'm not either. I mean, Miami Hurricanes, Catholics, convicts. Come on.
Yes.
But I'm excited to go there. And, of course, Zaslow Show 2.0. We are a South Florida-based podcast every single day, Monday through Friday, wherever you get your podcasts. And Zaslow Show 2.0 is brought to us by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. They are the title sponsor of everything Zaslow Show 2.0. So any kind of injury you're dealing with, car accident, hit and run, motorcycle, boating, you worry about your health. You call 911 first, and then you call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733.
Appreciate it as always, Zaz. Thanks for joining. We'll talk next week.
Yep.
Great job, guys. See ya.
There's Jonathan Zaslow joining on the Comrex and joining on the video stream as well, much clearer and basically in the room with us. We appreciate him joining as always. Make sure you go check him out at the Zaslow Show 2.0 and the College Football Tour, which will be happening weekly on ESPN Radio. We close out the program, give our Monday Night Football picks presented by Hard Rock Bet. Next, stick around. Russo Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hurricane fans, the final game of the season is here. Join us on November 23rd at Hard Rock Stadium as the Hurricanes take on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. It's Senior Day, a day to honor the incredible players who have given their all to the U. Let's give them a send-off they'll never forget and fill the stadium with Hurricanes pride. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today by visiting MiamiHurricanes.com or by calling 1-800-GO-CANES.
College basketball is coming to Sunrise. Catch a thrilling doubleheader at the 2024 AutoNation Orange Bowl Basketball Classic. Be there at Amerant Bank Arena on Saturday, December 14th as the UCF Knights take on the Tulsa Golden Hurricane and the Florida State Seminoles battle the Tulane Green Wave. Tip-off is at 2 p.m. Bring the whole family for a pregame party on the plaza. 1 ticket, 2 college basketball matchups. Tickets start at just $20. Get yours now at orangebowl.org.
Hey, it's your boy JC. ESPN just decided to take their action in the Jason Kelsey phone smashing incident. We explain all on today's brand new Questionable Call with Josh Cohen, exclusively on YouTube. Subscribe now. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
ESPN 106.3 is presented by Rubenstein Law. 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Car accident, truck accident, Uber or Lyft accident, or a slip and fall. Call Rubenstein Law. Call 1-800-FL-LEGAL and visit one of our offices throughout Florida.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo closing out a Monday edition of the program on ESPN 106.3, live from their City Play Studios right here in downtown West Palm Beach. I got a little bit of a beard going. It's November 4th. That's because it's No Shave November. The 9th annual YLS No Shave November fundraising event has begun. This event was created not only to bring more awareness to men's cancer issues, but also to raise money for the Cancer Alliance of Help and Hope, an amazing local nonprofit organization right here in Palm Beach County. The event begins on November 1st, of course, and ends with the live shave-off happy hour event on December 3rd from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at iBar at PGA National. Here's the link. If you want to get started to give donations, you just got to go to fundraise.givesmart.com/VF/men. They'll also be on our social medias as well. I know that's a bit of a tongue twister. So follow along on our social medias. We'll be throwing them up. If you want to donate, I have my own personal page. So we're going to be raising money for a great cause, men's cancer issues. And I'll be shaving off my beard in about a month's time.
Yeah, can I get a beard check?
It's not bad.
Let me see.
What's an audio beard check?
Yeah. I get a beard check?
So yeah, it's coming in a little thicker on the chin side, which is what I expected, and then you got to give it some time to grow out a little bit. So the good news is I gave myself a little bit of a head start. I don't grow fast, and then here we are.
Yeah, have you ever gone like bearded? You seem like a
Yes.
clean shaving. Oh, you have gone bearded. I guess college is the time to just not care.
He had a Viking-esque beard when he was in Iceland.
I not a Viking-esque beard, but I could grow it out. It grows out a little red too. Interestingly enough, yeah.
And C-Cat, you're a beard guy, right?
Yeah, it was disgusting when I was working in Oklahoma, where, you know, when you're in Oklahoma, you just kind of give up, apparently. So I went mustache shaved and chin strap neck beard, and it was hideous. I don't know how I was allowed out of my front door and I lived alone.
Yeah, why?
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Was it a phase?
At least keep the mustache, if
I
anything.
know. You know what it was? The mustache wasn't connecting to the beard, and that was annoying me. So I said, this mustache serves no purpose. Get it out of here.
Are you a beard product guy?
I have started to because my shaving has gone so horribly that I'm trying everything under the sun to not get shave bumps. So I am now putting stuff in my beard, different kinds of face wash that's specifically for beards, and it's working out. I've got like the extra ultra strength no bump thing now.
In terms of a razor or in terms of like the shaving cream or what?
It's like aftershave.
Oh, aftershave. Aftershave is great.
I see. C-Cat, would you ever go clean shave again, or you always have a beard?
I went clean shaven 3 years ago because I accidentally I got the guard on my blade.
And you had to.
Yeah, you just do one line and then.
Now you gotta do everything.
Exactly. So I don't. I think if it was for a cause or something, that would make sense. Like Colin's doing. I'm not shutting the door on being clean shaven.
I am. I told Colin this long line of clean shaved men in my family, mom's side and dad's side. Beards never flew in the household, and I'm not beard guy, but I love that Colin is doing it for charity. I think it is awesome.
You ever grow it out, Riz?
No, because I look like an idiot. Is that fair? I mean, picture me with a beard. Honest to God, you can't.
I feel like you look a little manlier with a beard. If I'm being honest, I think a beard makes anyone more masculine.
Maybe, but
Depends.
I like to. I don't know. I like getting up and shaving every morning. Like it's just
You shave every morning?
Every morning. It's just becomes.
I don't like that part of the routine. I don't like that.
Why?
It just takes extra time. I don't know.
Twice or thrice weekly for me.
I once or twice a week tops. Yeah, or at least when I wanted to keep shaving. I grow slow, which I like. I think is a blessing.
I could probably grow a pretty decent one, but the itching too, guys.
Get used to it.
No, you don't.
Unless you're playing football and have a chin strap. Like that's when it was itchy in high school.
Like I feel like I'm a big runner. I'm always sweating. Like I feel like when you start sweating, the beard is just a nightmare. Colin, you'll have to let me know.
Yeah, go check it out, the No Shave November fundraising event. I'll be posting everything on socials, so make sure you keep an eye out for that at ESPN West Palm or on my Twitter, Colin Russo 7. We'll be raising money throughout the month of November for a good cause for men's cancer issues. Let's get into our Monday Night Football picks presented by Hard Rock Bet. Buccaneers at Chiefs today. Buccaneers sitting at 4-4, suffering a slew of injuries to the offensive side of things, but they can still score, and they can still score well with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Taking on the Chiefs on the road. Kansas City favored by 9 points in this one. Undefeated, the Chiefs are at 7-0. It's our Monday Night Football matchup of the week. On ESPN tonight with Buck and Aikman on the call. That'll be an 8:15 kick in that one. Let's go around the table here. I think, in terms of covering, I think Tampa Bay is going to cover, actually. I think once again, I think you're going to see the Chiefs come out of this one 8-0. But I think this will be in the realm of a 4 or 5 point loss.
Colin, the Chiefs don't win by 10. I mean, they beat the Niners by 10 and they beat the Saints by 13. That's their only double-digit win of two double-digit wins on the year. They were right there. I think they do win by 10 though. I'll go with Kansas City in the spread tonight. I think that the injuries to the offensive end are a little too much. I don't like their defense either. I think the defense, it wasn't what it was last year. How about that for Tampa Bay? I think Baker's going to play well. I think they're going to score points, but I think Kansas City, I'll take them, Colin, 21-10. 21-10.
All right. I'm not picking a side. I'm choosing not to. You can't make me.
Why?
So I'm taking the over. I think this game is like a weird 30-27 game.
45.5 point over on Hard Rock Bet.
Yeah, I think it flies over the total because of an offensive outburst in the second half. I think we go to the half and it's like 7-3, and you're thinking, why did CCAP bet the over? And then you wait a half hour and they say, oh, that's why CCAP bet the over, because it's 30-27.
The Chiefs.
One of the teams wins.
The Chiefs
30-27, but one of the teams wins. You're not sure which?
I guess that means that I know who's covering, because it doesn't matter.
And I just realized I said that the Buccaneers would put up points, and I gave them 10 points. By the way, the Chiefs 27, 28, 26. Their last 3 games, they scored 25 points or more. So maybe you're onto something, C-Cat.
Now that defense is great, so we'll see how Baker Mayfield fares.
And that's why I think they covered the 9. Without the weapons offensively, I don't know, C-Cat. This screams Chiefs and under to me.
I mean, they just fire it out. I mean, Bucky Irving, I know, is questionable. So is Jalen McMillan. They have so many injuries. It's unbelievable. The Buccaneers do. But another week of DeAndre Hopkins for the Chiefs, so we'll see if they can figure that out, if they're going to make a move between now and tomorrow as well.
It's just a long preseason for the Chiefs. Like this game,
yeah.
If you're a Chiefs
fan, they're like the Patriots. They treat the regular season just escape and move on.
I don't think they're like the Patriots because America and football fans as a whole learned from the Patriots. The Patriots got doubted a lot when they were losing or they were winning ugly or losing random games. America doesn't doubt the Chiefs at
Yeah,
all
I don't
anymore.
doubt them.
They just, like, it doesn't matter what we see.
They're
That's why-
7-0, so I guess the proof's in the pudding there. But last year people did. Last year, like, are we done with the Chiefs? Are we done with the Chiefs? I think the Patriots were always like that, too. They would always get their 10 to 12 to 13 wins. And it would just be like the Patriots are not the same this year. They don't have the offensive talent, and they'd always end up in the Super Bowl.
I was surprised both you and Zaz with what you said about the Lions. Like, I understand. They pass the eye test more than the Chiefs, but dude, if I'm a betting man and I got to put my money on someone to win, it's Kansas City. I can't go against them.
Be a good game. I completely understand from that perspective, but the Lions are fairly battle-tested. They've dominated everybody, and they showed me something about playing outdoors.
You don't worry about the coach?
No, because they have 2 head coaches on that staff as well, in Glenn and Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, by the way, somebody who's going to be highly sought after by every single team. It's a matter of where he wants to go.
I guess
allegedly he likes the smaller markets. That's what the rumor is. He likes the Cincinnati's and Jacksonville's of the world. But people have also said that Jerry Jones is probably going to throw a large amount of money at him. But does he want to play in that type of environment? Does he want to coach in that type of environment? He's going to be the number one guy to go get.
Is Mike McCarthy the what's the word I'm looking for? Not fraud. I feel I like pity. I pity McCarthy. Like, I think he knows he's done. He knows he's fired.
He probably knew that when they didn't extend him in the offseason. So he's not going to get another contract. Let him coach throughout the rest of the year. Jones has been a loyal guy. I think they're probably just going to both part ways.
I think if the Cowboys lose on Thanksgiving to the Giants, he can take the rest of that week off and spend it with his family and the rest of the season as well. If Jerry Jones gets embarrassed on the Thanksgiving stage, again, like he has all season long, I think that's the straw that broke the camel's back.
And Kyle, you're
but he doesn't have a contract till after this season. So why wouldn't you just give him the last 6 weeks of the year just to coach when you're not doing anything?
Get a head start in front of the next guy.
And Kyle, you're a fan.
He's not in the staff, but I understand.
By the way, you mentioned the Giants 2-7. You're a fan of keeping Sheen and Dable around, huh?
Yeah.
You like that move?
I like keeping Shane and Dable around because they play hard for them. Played hard yesterday. So
you're saying they're berated
and
of
Shane
talent.
just had a great draft.
You're saying they're berated of talent more than anything.
I think they have talent. I think in a lot of ways
they're 2-7.
They're an offensive line and a quarterback away. I think they have talent. I really do. And he just had a great draft. They have a great defensive line. They lead the league in sacks. The defense is solid. But, they play tough. They're hindered by Jones and what they could do with that offense because the offensive line is not good and Jones is not that good. That's the takeaway. Go get a quarterback. Go help that offensive line. He's done a good job other than that. Letting Barkley walk, probably not the right move, but I think both sides are better off because of it. It's a Monday edition of Russo and Rizzo. Mike and I got practice tonight with our youth team. We'll see how that goes.
Installing the press, baby.
Installing the press today. So that should be a whole lot of fun. Big thanks to CCAT for helping us out on the ones and twos behind the glass, making sure we go over the air. Big thanks to Jonathan Zaslow, who joined us earlier in the show. If you missed any of it, go to Russo and Rizzo on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back at it tomorrow, 4 to 6, reacting to some Monday Night Football action, maybe some election stuff. Just kidding, we won't do that. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
ESPN West Palm is highlighting the best performance of the week, presented by Baptist Health.